Hello and good morning. This is Venkatesh Iyer. Welcome to Business Breakfast from Iyer's Classroom. Today is Friday, 22nd of September 2023. Let's quickly go through the 10 important news from 5 different dailies, including Economic Times, Financial Express, the Main Business Line, and Business Standard. So let's begin with Economic Times. India begins anti-dumping probe on dryer sliders, sulfur black imports from China. India has initiated a probe into the alleged dumping of dryer sliders by Chinese firms in the country. It has also initiated an anti-dumping probe on sulfur black imports from China. The move is aimed at protecting domestic players from cheap imports from the neighboring country. The probe on dryer sliders was started after a complaint by High Hope Furniture Fittings Manufacturers Associates Private Limited was received, which stated that the domestic industry is getting injured. The period of investigation is financial year 2023. The next news is International Monetary Fund Chief Georgieva tells cash-strapped Pakistan to tax the rich, protect the poor. The IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva has urged Pakistan to collect more taxes from the wealthy and protect the poor people, as the cash-strapped country reels under the double-digit inflation after securing a bailout from the global lender in July, media reports there on Thursday. Speaking to the Geo News after meeting the interim Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Khakar on the sidelines of the 78th United Nations General Assembly session in New York, Georgieva said that it is in the interest of the people of Pakistan that the country revitalizes its economy and addresses some of the shortcomings of the past. Moving to the Financial Express, the retail inflation for farm rural workers eases marginally in August. The retail inflation for farm workers and the rural laborers eased marginally to 7.37% and 7.12% respectively in August this year as compared to the previous month. The point-to-point rate of inflation based on Consumer Price Index agricultural laborers and the Consumer Price Index rural laborers stood at 7.37% and 7.12% in August 2023 as compared to 7.43% and 7.26% respectively in July 2023, a Labour Ministry statement said. Moving ahead, trade union calls for a 3-day strike in Coal India over wages. The state-run miner Coal India Limited on Wednesday said the central trade unions, including the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, have called for a 3-day strike from October 5 over issues pertaining to wage payment. The Coal India Limited is in receipt of a joint strike notice from central trade unions, BMS, INTUC, HMS, AITUC, CATU, etc. for observing 3-day strike from October 5 to 7 in Coal India Limited and its subsidiaries, the company said in a stock exchange filing. According to trade union leaders, the workers affiliated with national trade unions have been forced to threaten a strike due to wage disputes. The workers would neither produce coal nor allow its dispatch for 3 days, they stated. Moving ahead to the Mint, the low interest rates drove Indian households towards physical assets, says SBI EcoWrap report. A low interest rate regime in India during the pandemic resulted in a paradigm shift of household savings from financial to physical assets, according to report by SBI Research. In its study, it found that 55% of the retail credit to households in the last 2 years has gone to housing, education, and vehicle purchases. The report said arguments that the household savings fell to a 50-year low were completely misleading. It backed the statement by saying household savings must be looked into as sum of total of physical and financial savings and not in isolation. Oil prices fall nearly 1% on profit booking, concerns about higher interest rates. International crude oil prices fell nearly 1% on Thursday as traders look to book profits after the recent surge in prices. Analysts said concerns of further rate hikes by the US Federal Reserve also weighed on crude prices. Ravindra Rao, head commodity research at Kotak Securities Limited, said crude prices fell as hawkish Fed policy prompted investors to book some profits, foreshadowing signs of a tighter physical crude market. Moving to business line, power sector, coal imports up 8.5% in August as deficit monsoon drives up electricity demand. India's power plants imported more thermal coal on a monthly basis in August 2023 in anticipation of the shortage in supply of the critical commodity from domestic sources, particularly as the supply deficit is expected to stand at around 7 million tons in the half year ending financial year 2024. According to energy intelligence firm Kepler, India's thermal coal imports rose 8.5% to month-on-month to 12.3 MT last month. However, on an annual basis, inbound shipments were lower by 17%. Moving on, financial conditions strained by global macros, lower domestic liquidity in August, says CRISIL Index. Financial conditions in August were strained by global macros and lower domestic liquidity, according to CRISIL's Financial Conditions Index. The index value moderated to 0.7 in August after peaking at 1.1 in the previous month. A higher index value indicates easier financial conditions and vice versa. The Financial Conditions Index trended up in the previous 4 months. CRISIL's Financial Conditions Index moderated to 0.7 in August after peaking at 1.1 in the previous month. Moving to business standards, RBI proposes lenders identify willful defaulters within 6 months. The Reserve Bank of India on Thursday proposed that lenders should label defaulting borrowers as willful defaulters within 6 months of an account turning non-performing. The central bank identifies willful defaulters as those who have the ability to pay a bank's dues but do not or divert bank funds. The RBI did not earlier have a specific timeline within which such borrowers had to be identified. The regulator proposed that non-banking finance companies should also be allowed to tag accounts using the same parameters. As part of the process, the RBI has suggested in its draft master directions that banks should set up a review committee and allow the borrower up to 15 days to make a written representation as well as chance for in-person hearing if required. The 10th and the last news for the day from Business Standard. China's economic woes deepens. Advisors suggest more infrastructure spending. China's economic slowdown is polarizing the government advisors over the best way forward, with advocates of structural reforms now emerging from the shadows in a challenge to others calling for more state spending to shore up faltering growth. The rare debate among advisors who influence policy making but do not wield direct power come as global markets scramble for clues on how authorities will halt a downturn that has left millions without jobs, forced investors to flee and yuan to tank. A dribble of piecemeal support measures from Beijing in recent months have raised questions about the tough choices China's new economic leadership now faces over whether to prioritize short-term relief over long-term overdue reform. That's about the news. Let's look at closely the markets. What happened yesterday? The Sensex came down by 570.60 points, down by 0.85% to close at 66,230.24. The Nifty 50 came down by 159.06 points, that is 0.80% down to close at 19,742.35. So India's headline equity index has experienced a sharp decline, especially the Sensex, losing over 1,600 points in just 3 days. This has resulted in investors losing approximately rupees 5.4 lakh crore. The market capitalization of all companies listed on the BSE has also fallen to rupees 318 lakh crores. The decline in the market is attributed to factors such as the US Fed Reserve's decision to project an interest rate hike, rising bond yields, a stronger dollar, higher crude oil prices, expensive valuations, foreign institutional investor sell-off, and other technical factors. That's it for today. Thanks for watching this video. If you like the video, you may share it with your friends and colleagues, and you may also subscribe to this channel. Thanks a lot. Wishing you all a wonderful Friday and a great weekend ahead. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.